How's it going, everyone? My name is Trev Barnes. Thank you very much for joining me for another video. It is feeling absolutely beautiful outside. It's like 69 degrees right now. I got the window open, the breeze is coming in. So let's make some fall lo-fi. But before we do, did you know that 89% of you who watch these videos aren't actually subscribed? Watch the video first, but of course, if you like it, please share it, subscribe it, like it, do whatever YouTube wants you to do. But most importantly, hydrate. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to bring up a piano. I love this piano right here. It's upright by Session Keys. It's probably the best budget-friendly upright piano that I've seen. So I think maybe just something upbeat. Maybe around that tempo. And it doesn't really matter too much what we're doing now because I'm going to actually put this in the Logic sampler and change it up a little bit. But right now I'm kind of making my own samples and just making something fresh. So let's put a melody on top of that. Let's actually make all of these a little softer. So we're going to go to Functions, MIDI Transform, Random Velocity. Let's put it between 55 and 65. That's usually kind of the sweet spot for it. We're actually going to go into here. I want to show you how cool some of the features are in upright. Of course, you have an equalizer. Let's take a little bit of the highs off. And one of my favorite features in this is color. And I love the worn tape sound. So let's just drive that up a little bit. So let's get it sounding a little more worn. We're going to open up Kaput, which is our cassette tape emulator. So this is what it sounds like with it. This is what it sounds like without it. So if you like this, I believe this is a free plugin, so definitely pick it up. So let's double it with a classic electric piano. I think I'm gonna go with the Wurlitzer, because I like how that sounds better. Let's bring the treble down. So what we're gonna do now is bounce this in place. So lately I've been getting into chopping up loops and loading them up in a sampler. So pretty much every chord change, I'm gonna end up cutting that. So right there. And right there. And then what we're going to do is we are going to open up our sampler, go over to mapping, and we're just going to drag this in and fit it to the key. And we're just going to do this for every single one. So now, as you can see, we have all of our samples in our keys. But if you ever feel like you're in a musical funk and you just want some fresh ideas, just chop up a sample, put it in this, and just play around with it. What I'm actually going to do is lower it. Being mindful as well, when you lower the pitch, for some reason, it also lowers the tempo. I don't know how to fix that yet. So if someone can tell me, that would be great. So I think we're just going to stick with kind of what we have so far and maybe just add some variations to it. So it's not really that different from what we played, but putting it through a sampler just gives it that lo-fi MPC feel. So we're actually going to put a low and a high pass on this. I'm going to duplicate this and make kind of a lo-fi and a hi-fi version. And we're actually going to bring this up here. All right, let's make some lo-fi drums. So a while ago, Logic had this update where they have all these new lo-fi kits that sound really good. So I found this kit called Soulfire, which you could find in Logic. It sounds like this. All right, let's go ahead and track something. So I'm gonna move every other hi-hat hit to be on beat, and I'm just gonna leave every other one to kind of give it more of a swing. Do the same thing with the snare, and I'm gonna do the same thing with the kick, but only on the ones. So that alone, let's see how that sounds. So the hi-hats don't really feel like they swing that well. So what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and quantize them and select every other one. And we're just gonna move it over slightly. So how does that sound? So one thing I know I wanna do right away, so we're gonna throw on this FG73, which emulates a Neve, and we're just gonna kind of drive that a little bit. Next, I'm gonna throw on a distressor, or the FG stress as they call it. We're gonna put the ratio to 4:1. I want it to have a good bit of pump, but I don't want it to be over compressed. We're gonna go ahead and turn the attack and release to 0 as well as the input, and we're just gonna start bringing it up. So I'll probably do a video where I go in depth of how I use compressors. There's not necessarily a right or wrong way to, well, I guess there could be a wrong way. But when you're using a compressor, it's best to just experiment with each knob slowly to really get an understand of what they do. Input, obviously that's the input signal that we're putting through it. Attack is how fast the compressor is gonna work. Release is how fast or slow it's gonna let go. Your ratio is basically how hard it's gonna compress. And the original distressors also have these cool features where you can throw in kind of like an analog saturated distortion on them. So we're going to go ahead and throw that as well. So this is what it sounds like without the compressor on it. It sounds good, but let's throw some dirt on it. All right, next we're going to throw on an EQ. So just listening to it, I think I could take some highs out. Just a little bit. And let's add in some mid frequencies. Whenever I'm adding or taking away EQ, I like to sweep my frequencies to kind of know where I'm changing. It's extremely important when you're doing EQ to use your ears and not your eyes. In the last video, I talked about kind of why I don't necessarily like using the Logic EQ, which is this, which again, I can just go everywhere and anywhere with it. Technically, you could do that with this as well. You're just a little more limited. But the main thing is I like to actually hear what the EQ is doing versus seeing what it's doing. In our industry, it's very easy to lose your job because of these things. When we rely so much on what we see versus what we hear, we become dependent on the technology, and I feel like we lose our skill. That's why I don't like cars that have lane assist. Let me make the mistake of driving outside of the lane. So what I'm gonna do is a very annoying thing. I'm basically making my bell curve pretty tight, and I'm raising that EQ so I can hear kind of where the harshness is in the mix. And what I'm gonna do is just sweep that right there. I hear a very annoying frequency right there. So we're just gonna take that out a little bit. So this is before EQ. It's very clean. This is after. So before we did anything, this is what the kit sounds like. This is after. And this is with the mix. Cool, let's add some bass. So I'm gonna use the Synth E bass again. I talked about it briefly in my last video. I like the way it sounds. I know it doesn't really sound like a real bass. Let's go ahead and add a bass line. And now we are going to put that through an Ampeg SVT. I always suggest just experimenting with something. If you have a virtual bass, something like this, the Synth E bass that is obviously a virtual instrument, run it through an amp sim and it'll sound completely different. So this is without it, and this is with it. Sure, it made it louder, but it also makes it deeper. It's been a minute. Hydrate. We're gonna put that right there to remind you to hydrate. So something interesting, if you listen closely, running the bass through this distressor especially, it distorts it. There's so much signal going on. There's so much low end that's being squeezed through this thing, which is why I love it. And if you ever have the privilege to use the real piece in real life, I would say it's pretty close to what this does as well. But this is it without it. And then with it. I love it so much. And while we're at it, make sure that we are labeling everything. Drums are orange. Keys are this color that I don't know because I might be partly colorblind. And bass is always green. I think I'm going to add some more percussion. And something as well that I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this snare. And I'm actually going to do a flam, but with the rim. So without that rim flam, it sounds like this, which is good. But with it, so let's go ahead and just add some random percussion in. This is what our drums sound like. Let's bring in the chop back in. So all of these instruments sound way too clean. So we're gonna create a track stack just to bring them together. So let's open up our VMR. One day, if I have a good bit of subscribers, Slate, if y'all don't sponsor me or feature me, because all I do is talk about how great VMR is, I swear to God. All right, so of course we are going to dirty it up. There's a lot of sharpness, so what I'm gonna do is actually bring in a de-esser. Obviously, the de-esser does pretty self-explanatory, de-esses things, but a lot of times you can use it on like hi-hats or just anything that clips through in a very unpleasant way. So I actually think I use it more on drums than I do on vocals. And of course, we're gonna put a distressor on it. Let's take out a lot of that top end, boost the mids a little bit. Remove a good bit of low end as well. What I love about this EQ specifically is this drive button right here. So the line, when the drive is not initiated, it's just a line level. It brings up your volume completely. But if you press it, it distorts the sound. And I love distortion. No, my love of distortion isn't me just covering up the fact I'm a shitty mix engineer. I genuinely like distortion. All right, so let's hear it with the mix. Ooh, actually, you know what I'm gonna do? We're gonna duplicate the MPC drums and we're actually going to put a low and high pass on it and maybe do like a filter sweep. Let's go ahead and automate that. Let's start it right here and we'll end it right here. So I'm actually going to do the same kind of sweep effect on the bass, but I'm actually going to go the other way with it. Cool. So let's add some more instruments. I think a mellotron would sound pretty good with it. Hydrate. So let's actually change this up a little. Have more of an equal blend, bring in some tone, maybe, actually let's bring down the tone and the tape speed up. To actually make these chords instead of single lines. So let's actually bring in a trumpet. We're gonna kind of double that melody that's in the piano. So we're going to change some of these to staccato. And of course we are going to lo-fi that. Pretty much lo-fi is just high cutting and high passing everything. I also added this reverb on it just to, I don't know, put a reverb on it. All right, so now that we pretty much have our parts, wow, my posture is terrible. So now that we pretty much have our parts, let's just make our arrangement. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I really want lunch right now. All right, so now I'm gonna add some atmosphere. And one of my favorite ways to do so is with Labs. So Labs by Spitfire Audio, I've said it before in other videos, is a free virtual instrument host and software. It has some of the most amazing and unique sounds that I've used. And it is free. You get so many libraries. I don't even think I have all the libraries downloaded, but just to show you what you get for free. Actually, why don't I just show you? So just to give you an idea, these are all the packs that I have installed, and this is what I haven't installed. Go download it. I'm not sponsored or represented by Labs. I just think that they make amazing things and resources for musicians and producers. It has definitely helped me when I have not felt very creative and finding new and organic sounds. So I'm gonna bring up LA Atmos, which is like their atmosphere. So we're pretty much just gonna just do this all the way through. It's birds. Oh my God, maybe not. That bird's a little aggressive. This one's nice. Let's go ahead and record that. I hope no aggressive birds come out of nowhere. All right, so we're pretty much done with the arrangement of the track. Let's mix it. Something I do when I mix lo-fi or chill hop, whatever genre that this is, I kind of take an unorthodox approach to putting everything on the final mix bus. So what we're going to do is we're going to sidechain the kick drum. So basically what we're doing is we are listening for where that kick hits. And it's pretty much going to duck as the kick hits with everything. It's a really common technique used in lo-fi. So I think it sounds good there. Let's go ahead and run that through a tape saturator. I'm gonna use this Teak A3340S, which back in the day, I believe this was like a 4-channel tape recorder that you basically did like demos on. We're gonna set the tape speed low. I'm not really feeling that one. Let's use a Porta 1, which back in the day was this neat little tape cassette recorder. Damn, I don't like that one either. Let's try the 388. Yeah, that's it. And lastly, I'm gonna go ahead and run everything through the Master Assistant with Ozone 9. All right, so pretty much everything is done. All right, so let's go ahead and run through the whole thing one time and see how it sounds. But before we do, hydrate. Since it's feeling like fall, we'll just call the track Feeling Like Fall. But I do hope that you guys enjoyed making a beat with me. If you have any ideas of what kind of song you want to see me make next, definitely let me know in the comments and I'd be more than happy to take a try at it. If you like the video, definitely subscribe. It helps me out in the future growth of this channel. I enjoy making these videos and I hope you enjoy watching them. Thank you guys so much again for watching and I will see you in the next video. Peace.